Hello. So today we are learning Likkutei Torah by Daf Chaf. We are beginning with the end of the mimer on Daf Chaf, the bottom of Daf Chaf, which is V'yitin Ayz L'malkei. So the Alter Rebbe is discussing the idea of gevura, of severity, and its role in Judaism, and so he explains that there's two possible places in which this would be appropriate. The first one would be when there's a divine revelation that is strictly regulated, so that there can be no foreign components to it. That's one version, and the other version is that when it comes to to divine revelation, there's a component of concealment. There's a component of severity, and that in severity, one of the roles that it can take is that it can produce a world like we have, in which evil is able to exist, because the concealment of God is so intense and so real. This robs us of the ability to see Him, and we are. But there is a possibility of gevura being affected by chesed. But the Alter Rebbe stresses that this can only happen through a tzaddik, and he mentions that this is what Moshe was trying to do when he with the 13 attributes of mercy, and that but we have a practical way of experiencing this when we daven the Musaf on Rosh Hashanah. And when we daven the Musaf on Rosh Hashanah, we have 9 blessings which reference the 9 mentions of God that Chana said when she was davening for a child, and her whole prayer was all about this reality, of this idea of bringing the chesed back into the gevura, bringing the revelation, the kindness back into severity. Now the next mimer is the mimer tevרכו was bnei Yisrael. And this is based on the verse that we say the v'bרכת, and the Alter Rebbe is doing a translation of this whole verse, and he bases it on a Gemara that the angels complain to God, and they say that it says in your Torah that a judge is not allowed to favor one side, but you say in this verse that God will show favor to you. So the angels confront God and say that this is hypocritical, and God responds and says, "What can I do? My children, I told them that they could only have to bench after a meal if they're satisfied, and they define satisfaction as eating a kazit, as eating about an ounce of food. And so God says, what can I do that they've shown their affection for me by going above and beyond the letter of the law? Therefore, I favor them." So the Alter Rebbe asks what the possible connection could be between the fact that we are strict on this particular law and the pasuk that God will favor us. And so he says, to begin, we have to understand why we bench, what the concept of blessing is in the first place. So we know that the world, Kabbalah explains that the world and the universe was created through letters. That there was the 10 sayings that God used to make creation, and those 10 phrases, those letters of those points of energy, combined and were switched and divided and separated, and to eventually produce all of the universe. Now, when we make a bracha, we say Baruch Ata. That second word Ata is spelled Aleph Taf He, and so Aleph and Taf are the first and last letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and they are referencing all of the letters, and the He is a reference to God. And so what we're saying is that all of creation is a product of divided and subdivided letters. But we want to bring it back to its original source, back to that first truth, that first saying, and we do this through our blessings on the food. Now, in order for us to positively affect creation, we first need to engage with ourselves, and this is our battle with our own animal soul that we do through prayer. That when we daven, we start at the very beginning, referencing all the very practical parts of our lives, the first blessing at the beginning of davening, and we say Baruch Ata, we're trying to bring God into every part of our lives. We then travel through the davening until we get all the way to Shema. And in Shema, we say, that I want to serve you with all my heart, which has two meanings referenced in the Mimer. One is the idea of Mesiras Nefesh, that we are willing to give our lives to God, which is a perspective that is only that of the godly soul that is willing to do this. But we will have hopefully reached that point by the Shema, that we are willing to give up our lives, and we are including within that the animal soul by saying with both of our hearts. Now, how is it that we positively affect the animal soul? We need to address him through the prayers, and only then do we have we reached the level where we're able to draw God into the world, and afterwards subsequently eat and make blessings on it. This then ties back in with the pasuk. The pasuk begins that when that God has blessed us, He has brought us down into this world to affect positive change. And He guards us by allowing us to not be negatively affected. Then we say that God turns His face towards us. This is a reference to the Torah, that the Eibusher gave us the Torah, and through this He has provided us with a perspective on creation that is His perspective, and that reinforces our own engagement with the physical reality around us. And then finally, Yichuneka has several interpretations, but one of them for this mimer is that of camping, of dwelling, that ultimately through our prayer and then our positive impact on the world, it allows God to make this world a dwelling place for Him.